Line, we take you inside a preview of New Wilmington's annual Fireman's Auction.
Elizabeth Ferry heads to Newcastle for the latest about Gary Felasco.
And our On the Road team takes us to a new winery in town and gives us the inside scoop. We're live.
We're local.
The County Line starts now. Welcome to tonight's edition of the County Line. I'm Shannon McLean.
And I'm Amanda Hogger. September has been quite a month for Lawrence County Treasurer Gary Felasco. The State Attorney General's office announced criminal charges on September 7th. 2 weeks ago, the county decided to withhold Felasco's paycheck in an escrow account. And just today, Felasco pleaded not guilty at his preliminary hearing at the Lawrence County Central Court. The County Line's Elizabeth Ferry has what went on.
Lawrence County Treasurer Gary Felasco had his day in court today. The State Attorney General's office is bringing him up on charges of embezzlement, violations of the State Ethics Act, and the theft of over $47,000 worth of taxpayer money. The Attorney General's office had multiple witnesses today to prove their case against Felasco. Felasco walked into the courthouse refusing to speak with reporters. His lawyer looked prepared, but he seemed a little unsure. Inside the courthouse, Felasco pleaded not guilty to all 5 counts against him. But the state was armed with a number of witnesses. One witness, Fenton Schufert, says the computer system at the courthouse might have provided Felasco the perfect cover-up by deleting evidence.
There was a delete code that was given to tax claim when the system was first developed, so that if an account had been put into the delinquent tax file by error, they could remove it so the person would not receive a delinquent notice.
Whether or not Felasco abused the system, Schufert says she's still appalled by the entire situation.
I thought it was outrageous. A black mark on the courthouse. We all feel that way up here.
In Newcastle, I'm Elizabeth Ferry for the County Line.
In New Wilmington, the Volunteer Fire Department is getting ready for their annual auction. For the past several weeks, they've been busy taking donations for the fundraiser. Reporter Mike Walensky checked in to see how they're getting ready for the big day on Saturday.
In the garage at most fire stations, you'll find, of course, fire trucks. But that's not always the case in New Wilmington. Here, volunteers park their fire trucks outside to make room for something much bigger on the inside. That's right. Inside the New Wilmington Fire Department, you'll find what seems to be junk. But to them, it's not junk, it's merchandise. And it's a big moneymaker, as Amy Gilliland explains.
Last year we raised approximately $85,000.
And what do you do with it?
Maintenance, upkeep of the trucks, the equipment, purchase new equipment if needed, gear, and insurances for both trucks and members.
Now, if you're going to raise that much money, you'd better have a lot of stuff to sell. And they do. Toys, games, and puzzles, radios and TVs, knickknacks, kitchenware, pretty much everything except the kitchen sink. Well, scratch that, but you get the point. They have a lot of stuff for sale.
This is the professionals. We start 6 weeks ahead of time, and we have volunteers in here almost every day, and there's probably about 100 people that volunteer their time.
For now, the fire trucks will have to stay parked outside. Unless, of course, I can find something better to do with them.
The Fireman's Auction is this Saturday. It starts with a flea market at 9 o'clock and the auction begins at 5. So Mike, what else can you tell us about the auction?
Well, there's definitely a lot going on because there'll be several hundred people there buying stuff. They raised $85,000 last year. Of course, they hope to do the same again, as Amy told us. And in past years, they said they've had customers come all the way from Canada.
Wow, that's far.
It is a long way to go. So I'm going to go on Saturday so I can report back to you guys on Thursday again and let you know how much they raised this year.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Sure.
Okay. Let's see here. Soon you will be able to keep up with the local headlines with online broadcasting. Reporter Catherine Larson takes a look at Titan Radio as it begins streaming on the web.
Titan Radio is more than keeping up with changing times.
This is where it all starts.
Launching streaming radio. Broadcasting Department Chair David Barner's thrilled about heading online, but says we're still catching up.
As far as the idea of streaming on the radio, we're not the first station to have done that, but I think that we are have made the most use of the web capabilities.
Launching it this Friday, there are a slew of possible things that could go wrong, and all this technology may be too much, too fast.
Well, people who are listening to the stream are going to have some difficulties. They're going to notice interruption in the stream. It's not going to be as steady as they would like it to be.
But although it's had some testing problems, it's not that hard to use. In fact, all you do is get online and you can click on www.titanradio.net where you can test it yourself. And the new technology is helping to connect students across the county and across the country.
Now with this new streaming thing, everybody, not only students can listen to us, my parents back home in Texas can listen to me talk.
And from here, the sky's the limit.
It opens up a whole lot of other possibilities. When you stream live media, you also open up the possibility of streaming the recorded shows. If you have a specialty program that you want to air, you can capture that, stream it live whenever anybody wants it on demand. And then, of course, for the television station, it opens up the possibility of being able to stream our newscast live.
I'm Catherine Larson for the County Line.
Later in the show, Catherine Larson will sit down with Tom Rookey and get the latest on the upcoming elections in Mercer County. But first, Amy Sasfai has this week's 89 on the County Line as she brings us the latest headlines from Titan Radio News.
Titan Radio Digital 88.9 News brings you local news now.
I'm Amy Sasfai with this week's top stories from Digital 88.9 News. Lawrence County Treasurer Gary Felasco went to court Thursday to face embezzlement charges. Pennsylvania Attorney General Tom Corbett filed charges earlier this month claiming that Gary Felasco took over $47,000 of taxpayers' money. Felasco made his plea on Thursday at the Lawrence County Central Court in Newcastle. Governor Ed Rendell says slots could generate up to $1 billion in revenues for school districts each year. However, 2/3 of school districts in Pennsylvania have refused to participate in Act 72 program. Critics say that gambling revenue is an unreliable source of tax revenue. The governor says that the program can't pay for all the reform, but he says that it's time for Pennsylvania to look at all the ways of cutting the homeowner and business tax burden. Mercer County is returning to paper ballots for this November election. Last year proved that the county's electronic voting system was flawed. The state is paying for the new ballots in Greene and Beaver counties as well as in Mercer. The funding could run between $46,000 and $200,000 in each county. Newcastle area Pop Warner coach denies allegation that he and 2 other coaches cursed and shouted at referees, leading to their lifetime ban from the Football League. The coaches are accused of throwing footballs and shouting at the referees. The game ended when more than a dozen police officers arrived at the scene and arrested the coaches. That was your 89 on the County Line. Stay up to date with your local news every weekday on Titan Radio. More County Line is on the way.
Weather was generally warm for homecoming this year, but as the temperatures begin to drop, one local winery is busy picking and pressing their grapes for the rest of the year. The On the Road team takes us to Volant Mill Winery and explains why fall is their busiest season.
I'm Luke.
And I'm Stevie.
And we're on the road. This week on the road, we visit Volant Mill Winery,
where they're pressing grapes for this area's most famous wine,
Wilmington White.
And what we're doing is we're crushing and pressing our Niagara grapes, which makes the Wilmington White wine. Okay. We have about 3 tons to press today. That'll give us anywhere from 400 to 600 gallons of juice, which will make about 3,000 bottles, of wine.
Before the grapes can be pressed, they have to be crushed and destemmed, and that takes a lot of work.
When you're all through squeezing it, when you're through getting all the juice out of it, it's called pulp. When you get through doing the pulp, we just put it in the back of this truck here of mine, and I'll take it up to one of my properties, my vineyards, or one of my gardens, or one of my farm fields. We'll just spread it on the farm fields, on the fields, wherever, because it makes excellent fertilizer. Excellent. I started making wine in my high school principal's basement as a 15-year-old kid. That's been 45 years ago this August. So this is my chick wine, and this is by far the largest selling wine that I have. I mean, that sells anything else hands down, because you chicks all like it. So, you guys all talk about your great wines and how, blah, blah, blah. So there's only one good bottle of wine ever been made in the whole world. I've only ever made one. It's the one you paid me for.
Although the Volant Mill Winery is pressing grapes all this week, you can still step in and try any of their 15 varieties of wine.
Well, that's it for this week's On the Road.
We'll see you next time.
An upcoming event in the area, the November elections. Paper ballots will return to Mercer County. The state is helping the county pay for them after their electronic voting machines were decertified. The machines failed tests for recording and counting votes back in April. Officials say the funding could reach as high as $200,000 in each county.
While paper ballots will be used by residents in the November election, reporter Elena Shoring took to the streets of New Wilmington to get the public's opinion on whether they prefer paper or electronic ballots.
Scantron ballots or paper ballots are easier to use when you're voting?
I would say paper, even though, because I'm the older generation and I'd have to learn how to do everything, and I think that's a lot of people around would be easier and more comfortable using the paper.
Do you think that paper ballots or electronic ballots are better whenever you vote?
I think that the electronic it's just a modern thing to do. Paper is old-fashioned and it'll go away.
Do you think that paper ballots or electronic ballots are easier to use whenever you're voting?
I think paper ballots are the way to go.
Why is that?
Well, I don't know that it's necessarily easier mechanically for the voter, but I think just in terms of reliability and fair counting that there should be a paper trail. There's too much chance for manipulating data and voters not being counted.
Do you think that paper ballots or electronic ballots are easier whenever you go in to vote?
I would say electronic. I mean, it's right on the screen, paper. Some people get confused on the color in them, and people get confused. And I think electronic, it's right in front of you. You got your answers in front of you. I think it's a lot simpler, and the counting at the end, I would say, is simpler. It's all computer counted.
I'm Elena Shoring from the streets of New Wilmington studio.
Reporter Elena Shoring with that county comment. And now for the county close-up. With just a month in between before the November 8th election, we need to be discussing the proper election rules and if things have changed this year on the ballot. So joining us tonight is the Director of Bureau of Elections and County Register, Tom Rookey, and he'll be telling us a little bit about how the history of the Unelect and the Scantron and handicapped accessibility. We've got so much to plow into. But let's start out with the issue of history. Tell us how the Scantron came to be.
We had quite a blow-up in last November's election. So the state tested the system, which happened to be by a company named Unelect, and they decertified it. We went then to Scantron. We chose Scantron because it was the fastest and safest way we could think of in a situation where the people out there were pretty shaken. Since then, Unelect has had another testing of that equipment, and the state did not certify it again. We don't know where that's going.
Well, that's okay. Let me question you on this then. So we're going to go with the Scantron. It's
Right.
pretty much the stable way. With that being said, I know it's something around 2006 when federal laws are going to change all the enactments on handicap requirements. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay. The basic idea is that the polling places cannot simply be the place that it's always been. It has to be accessible to every citizen. Every person must have the right to independently vote. That means it can't be a question of, for instance, can the doors be opened or do they need help?
Right, and I know you brought one of those, so tell us a little bit about how that works.
Okay, well, what we've been doing is all this summer we've been looking for ways to get as many of our polling places as possible legal, because the rule is simple: modify or move.
Which is
simple.
harsh. So how many places might go away because of this?
Well, we originally started out that we thought 49 out of 100 would go away. Instead, it looks like it's only going to be 7 out of 100. And why is because we've been finding fantastic stuff done by fantastic people. This little gadget goes over a doorknob. If you have a doorknob like you have at Westminster College in this building, those doorknobs are illegal.
Ah.
Could not have a polling place here. Actually, it could affect other handicap things too, but as far as the voting goes, you could not have a polling place here. However, you put these neat little gadgets called a grate grip, and you put them over the handle, and when they get over there, then a person can take their hand. They don't need to grip, but a person can take their flat hand or their crippled hand, and they just
push it over it,
and the door just opens.
Tell me, you were also telling me a little bit earlier about the mats that they have.
Oh yeah, the Moby mat, the greatest. The Army developed a thing they called a PSP. Of course, we call it a Moby mat. The mat was designed to go over beaches because Army trucks would go on a beach and they would just sink into the sand. So they put out these mats. They're very light. 27-foot long one is only 18 pounds.
And you can run a wheelchair right over it.
You put it right on.
Wow.
You put it on grass. You put it on gravel. The big gravel.
So let me ask you this: what are they doing about the ramps then?
Ramps we're putting in. The big problem is the small ramps, the 1-inch and 2-inch for thresholds. Well, we're getting portable ramps that are just about a yard wide and just little, and those go in. They're made out of aluminum, and you put those right up against it, and you've got an instant portable ramp. And they're very inexpensive. Anywhere from $60 to $100 depending on the size.
So it's not that expensive to make these amenities.
Right.
Okay.
Right. You're talking about spending anywhere from $4.50 to maybe $100, $150, and you keep a site.
Right, and that saves a lot of trouble. So
saves a lot of expense too, because I have to send out new voting. When I change a site, I have to send a new voting card to every voter in that site, and anyone who's done postage knows it's easy to spend hundreds and hundreds. So you're saving the taxpayer money. But the other thing is, the person who's voted at that place for the last 9 years, you're saving them a lot of confusion. When they show up with their coffee early in the morning to vote, it's still there.
I see. Let's go in real quickly into if you want to get in and you want to help out this year, how much you get paid and all that jazz.
Okay. If you would like to be a poll worker, the election official, we changed things this summer. We had a court ruling that supported us. It's $100 a day is what we pay for the people that work at the polls. And all a person has to do now is send a letter to me at the county courthouse. And if it has your original signature on it, that's considered a petition, and I can put you on the list. And anyone who's over 18 and a registered voter can be an election worker. It's fun, too.
Yeah, it sounds like it's fun. Well, hey, thank you so much for joining us, Tom Rookey. And if you want to get some more information, you just need to go ahead online to www.mercercounty.pa.us and get ready for that November 11th election. November 8th, thank you. November 8th election. What am I thinking? Stay tuned for more County Line after this.
There's a better way to have fun with history. Visit americaslibrary.gov. Log on, play around, learn something.
The Lawrence County Humane Society believes in the safety of spaying and neutering your animals. Spaying and neutering can have many long-term benefits.
We at the Lawrence County Humane Society believe that all animals should be spayed or neutered. Many reasons why, but the biggest reason is that they will be a happier, healthier pet. Also, it alleviates the overpopulation problem.
Getting your animals spayed and neutered is one huge step in making sure that more animals are healthy and find loving homes.
Hello and welcome to Tight Town Sports. I'm Justin Agley. Thanks for tuning in, as this week we're going to find out what's going on this Saturday. No football for the Titans, but there's definitely going to be a lot of people on campus, and here to tell us more about that is the head coach of the swimming team, Coach Clement.
This Saturday, October 1st, Westminster College is proud to host an Olympic swim clinic. This year, Brendan Hansen is going to be our clinician. Brendan swam at the University of Texas. He is a world record holder. He's currently the world record holder in the breaststroke events, the 100 and 200 breaststroke. He represented the United States in the Olympics, the last Olympic Games. He won a gold, a silver, and a bronze. He was a member of the gold-winning 400-meter medley relay, which also set the world record. So he holds the individual records, and he has a relay record also. We're very fortunate to have Brendan here doing a clinic. We have children coming from all over the area, ages 8 and up. We have 130 swimmers registered for the clinic, and we're really looking forward to an exciting day with Brendan. He's going to be in the water demonstrating the strokes. He's also going to talk to the swimmers about strength training in dry land. He's going to give them a motivational speech. We're going to have lunch. Should be a great day for everybody. The clinic is scheduled from 10 o'clock until 2. It is free and open to the public for people that like to sit and watch upstairs in the pool balcony. The swimmers who are attending need to pay, and we are doing this as a fundraiser for the Westminster College swim team for our Southern training trip.
Next week, we'll have the follow-up on how that camp went. Now, he won maybe a medal or two. Yeah, so what, big deal. I mean, I could do that. But one team that wasn't supposed to be very successful this year is the Wilmington Greyhounds. They were expected to win 2 games at the most. Reporter TJ Yoakley has a report on their successful season this year.
When somebody talks about the perfect start, they often talk about a big play, the big hit, or a big tackle. But the case for the Wilmington football team is their 4-0 start and possible 5-0 start against rival Sharon.
I don't think many people expected us to be 4-0 at this stage, but you know, we're excited about it, but we realize that we've got some difficult games to come, and we got to keep them on the ball.
Well, we feel pretty confident right now, but the key thing is not to get too overconfident because, you know, we've played good up so far, but the hardest part of our season's coming up right now.
It feels good. They say we weren't going to have a good season this year, but we're proving everyone wrong so far.
Stepping in this year for the Hounds to take charge is new quarterback Jake Reiber. How does Jake handle the pressure?
It feels great. I mean, you can't ask for really anything more. We're 4-0, and I mean, we just look to keep finding a way to win here and there, and we'll do whatever it takes.
It's all team unity and our preparation each year, or each week for the game, plus the off season before the season started, all the hard work we had to go through, all the hard work we did.
This is said to be a rebuilding year for the Hounds. Now the question remains, is this a rebuilding year, or is it just reloading?
We try to reload. But obviously, when you have all new people, it's difficult. You have to have experience to win big games. You know, just that knowing what to do that maybe you weren't taught that week and so on. You know, just by having game experience, you realize what to do. So, yeah, we try to reload more than rebuild, and I think that's the sign of a good program.
Rebuilding is what the Hounds were supposed to do. Winning is what they are doing. And success, well, that just comes naturally for these Greyhounds. For Titan Town Sports, I'm DJ Yoakley.
Hey, thanks, DJ. And if you have nothing to do this Friday, this is going to be a great game. Wilmington versus Sharon. It's homecoming, 7:30 Friday night. That'll be on Titan Radio 88.9 FM. DJ and Chris will have the call. Now we're going to go from high school football to college football. Let's take a look at the Titans highlights. All right, things did not start so good for the Titan offense. No first downs all first quarter, and this didn't help either. Freshman number 20, Eddie Williams, fumbles the ball. Thomas More will recover this one in good field position. Now, the Titan defense had a great game. They held Thomas More after the fumble for this field goal attempt, 37 yards by Brian Shealy. It's wide left, 30 seconds left in the first quarter. That was kicking into the wind. Now second quarter, number 5, Sean Buggy tries to go wide left, and deja vu as the Titans fumble again, setting Thomas More again in good field position. Now just like that last fumble, the Titans D stops Thomas More's offense, so they'll try another field goal, this time with less than 30 seconds left in the half. It's good from 26 yards. Thomas More goes in the half 3-0. Now opening kickoff for the second half was an onside kick by Westminster. They recover the ball. Brilliant play by Coach Hand, but unfortunately we don't have it on tape. But that set up this onside kick set up this field goal, 13 play, 48-yard drive. That's Jason Ludmick, 21-yard field goal, ties it at 3. Now third quarter, defense doing again what it's been doing all game, stepping it up and saving some points from going on the board. Adam Ababney gets the initial hit and recovers the fumble. Thomas More would shortly get the ball back, though, and they would be held to only a field goal attempt. Again, it's missed. Score still stays at 3. Now, early in the fourth quarter, this is quarterback Nate Berkeley. He'll go deep and find his favorite receiver. That's number 22, Andy Heinel. Makes a magnificent catch. That is good for 61 yards. That gets the first TD of the game. And let's take a quick look at that catch again in slow motion. Definitely a mismatch on the height comparison. Jumps right over our defender. It makes a great grab. Now going in late to the fourth quarter, Titans had a drive going, but this high snap, kills the drive and kills the chance for the comeback as the 16-yard loss. And then the insurance TD from Thomas More. Here it is, freshman Lawrence Colbert runs 47 yards for the TD on the right side here. And that would make the final score, Thomas More 17, Westminster 3. Now, Westminster will have a bye week this week. And on this Sunday, we're going to have the replay of that game, the Westminster homecoming game. That'll be at the same bat time, same bat channel. And so that'll wrap it up for the Titan Town Sports. I'm Justin Egley. Thanks for stopping by, and please stay tuned as more County Line is on the way.
Crackhead, drug dealer, gang member, all kicked out of the community with the help of kids
like me.
You can help prevent crime. Call 1-800-722-TEENS to find out how.
It's time we're judged by what we do,
not how we look.
That does it for this week's edition of the County Line. Tune in next week when we'll have the results from the Fireman's auction.
We'll check in with Westminster professor Scott McKenzie's family while he is overseas serving in Iraq.
And we'll take a look at the upcoming fall fishing season. We leave you now with footage from the Westminster Homecoming Parade. Good night, everyone.
Good night.